We're live. Shh.
Hello.
We're gonna wait for Kristian and Rayshawn to get back in, and then we'll keep talking. Here we go. Connecting.
Hey,
Hey, sorry.
and we kept talking. I'm like, dang, something is happening here.
No,
That
I'm
was
glad you
like
did.
so. You guys told us a mouthful.
We
I'm
were
like,
just talking.
wow.
That's fine. I don't know what happened. My alarm went off, and then like it wouldn't go back to live video. Like we could see you guys, but it was paused. I don't know what was going on.
Oh, that was
Oh
weird.
wow.
You know.
Well, yeah. Well, for everybody that's might tune in, we were talking about mission trips and
White mission trips.
White mission trips. Yeah.
right. And what does the Black church do? We do missions, and we basically were saying that well, most Black churches are already in the
In the
urban
hood.
community.
Mm-hmm.
So we
Well,
don't have to.
I don't know how to call it the hood. Well, whatever. The urban
Oh
community.
Lord.
You can call it what you want. I'm not gonna say those things.
Why she so walking on
How'd
pins
you
and
say?
needles?
I'm just saying.
What
Why
are
I
you gonna
got
say?
well,
Urban hood ghetto?
well, either way it goes. And we're already doing the work in the community, which
Mm-hmm.
is, the VBSs and the back to school fundraisers and making
Right.
sure that everybody has what they need to go back to school.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these kids probably more than likely go to our church and or are friends of people, so you're going to
Right.
see kids again for sure. And you guys were
Mm-hmm.
saying that, for you guys, you're going on these mission trips, but it's more like you don't, you guys never took into what account of what you really were doing. It
Right.
kind of like a getaway. Am I hearing right? Like
Yeah.
a cool
It's
place that you're going to, and
it's poverty tourism. You get to go and you experience poverty in another place, but then you still treat it like a vacation, and it's
yeah,
gross.
yeah, that was that. But I will say this though, like to be at that place where you can like understand where you were then and talk about it. That is like growth and acceptance for real though.
Right. Well, we
You did knock my socks off with that because I literally thought that that's what the white church had. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna give them that. They will go overseas and do these things, and to hear that there was really like no connection. And of course, it's just you guys' experience. And I'm talking
Mhm.
about every single white church. So
Right.
go to a church where you guys really meant it. Okay, but yeah,
Yeah, and there are some people that I'm sure are doing it right. Like
right.
the short-term mission trips don't seem to make an impact in the neighborhood unless they are consistent. Like let's say you have a nonprofit group that works in Chicago and they bring in youth groups every summer and the same youth groups every summer to do this work in Chicago. That would
Right.
be the way to do it. But it's intentional. Like what we do in Cleveland, we go every month and we build a relationship with the people that we're working with, and we know what the job is,
Yeah.
and we so it's not just going to get to pat ourselves on the back and making us feel like we did work for inner city people. Like we're going to continue to build a relationship, and sometimes we learn more than we actually like. We get more than we give when we go because we have that relationship.
Right.
So it's that's how missions is supposed to be, like going and serving, and
Mm-hmm.
not going to serve to feel good because we did the serving. And I think it's more of it's not a white issue, it's a suburban issue. I think it's a comfortable, like you have everything you need in the suburbs. You've got all
Yeah.
the restaurants and grocery stores and neighborhood, so you have to go somewhere else to find people with problems.
Right.
Or I would say, Corey, that it might be like a religion type thing because as a chaplain, I can't evangelize. I can't try to convert people.
Right.
Uh, it's not even my desire, number one, because I think that people are looking for relationships. They want you to hear what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people don't need people coming to them saying, hey, get saved, know Jesus.
Right.
Right.
There's no sort of relationship, no connection. You just want to get somebody saved and, cross out a number in the kingdom.
Right.
It's number 99 that I got saved. Oh, I'm
Right.
great.
Right.
That's horrible. So I think some of this has to do with, religion. And Christianity is huge on making disciples and trying to convert people versus really taking the time to hear somebody's story, to sit, as a non-judgmental type person and hear people and not do so much talking, not pushing Jesus. That stuff is hard.
Right.
Because to not do that means that you have to be comfortable, in your own skin with certain issues that you've overcome. You got to be more of a stable person in the first place to not even push Jesus on everybody.
Right.
So I think a lot of it has to do with, just religion, and Christianity is big on making disciples. And so people run with that, but they don't run with, forming relationships and hearing people's stories and not being judgmental. So.
And I think that the basis of it all, especially like whether if you're going on mission trips or you're giving in your community or whatever you're doing, it's always got to be, I might be the only Jesus that a person sees.
Right.
Like he has to live in me. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm giving of my time and of who I am so that to infect whoever with the love of Jesus. Yeah. So whether if they come to church or not, whether if whatever, it shouldn't be like to really make us feel better.
Right.
But it should be for the glory of God. Yeah. And I think that it takes for an experience to happen for you to realize that that's really what it's about.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, that part right there.
Yeah, it's rough.
That's a mind buster.
That's huge, man.
Yeah. It's something like, me and Jenny have really been wrestling with our white evangelical church experience for a number of years. And I think when we look at the things that we were exposed to as teenagers and as kids, a lot of it was done really poorly. Like it may have had good intentions, but it still was done really poorly and not executed well, because people don't think hard enough about it, like how it's actually impacting the people that we're serving, rather than just how it makes us feel.
Yeah.
And that's not good. That's not serving people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so for real, what you're being taught is how to make yourself feel better instead of how to actually be a change in someone's life.
There you go.
Right.
Which will come back to really change your life, because now you've experienced something with another person who is not like you, yet you came together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, imagine like there was a youth group that I served at in Kentucky that every year they went to Guatemala. And imagine being a person that lives in Guatemala and having a small farm or just whatever, and a group of white teenagers come to your door and say, we're going to build you a barn. And you're like, okay. And then they leave. And the barn's not even that good because it was 16-year-olds that built the barn. So it's like, it does it make a difference? Maybe. This guy has a barn now, but it was more to make the people feel good that we're serving.
Right.
And it didn't.
What was his name? Did he
exactly. Exactly. Are you ever going to see him again? Are you Facebook friends with him? Like, what's you got some pictures with this kid to make, like with his kid, to make you look like you're multicultural, and then you get to go home and put it on Instagram.
Or did they even ask you all? Did they tell you all what they needed versus you all saying, hey, we're going to do this? I mean, we don't think about stuff like that, man. It's arrogant to tell people what they need and not ask them, how can I support you? How can I help you? But we all struggle with that. I mean, we do a lot of talking. I think every person struggles with communication and hearing somebody else. Over talking is so easy. Not really hearing, people's story. Who wants to just say?
What'd you say?
You said what's the last part?
Not hearing people's story. Look, you got Kristian, and then you got me. She fell right for it.
That was great.
What did you say? You messing up my flow, Corey. Who's that, Anthony or Corey? Both of y'all.
I'm sorry, I had to. That's funny. Oh, I hope it didn't pause again. Okay.
Yeah, I think.
Cool.
You
so, what other themes did you? I guess we talked about church pretty well, but like, I guess through all this, we're finding that there's a lot of similarities in
Yeah.
the black and white church.
Yeah.
So how do we bridge the gap then? Because we all know that like segregation is real on Sundays.
That's real.
So what do we do about that?
I think that we have to open ourselves up to a new experience.
Mm-hmm.
And challenge ourselves to put ourselves in an uncomfortable position, because you never know what you might find.
Mm-hmm.
I will just speak from our own experience. Coming to church with you guys, it was just a different experience, you know.
Right.
I struggle with wanting certain things, but I also had to learn how to find God or find him in something that's different from what I'm used to, because it doesn't mean that he's not there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that's a judgment. We went to a Presbyterian church. Now I'm like Jenny, since being married, I tell you, I have been to some different denominations, and
Mm-hmm.
I've been to the Presbyterian church, and I've been to the Methodist church, and it's all different, but allowing myself to be down to go. And I think that the white church needs to do the same. Find you a church, look it up, whatever, and if you like something that you see, show up, and don't care about all the things that you feel like needs to be checked off on your list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Get uncomfortable.
what do you feel like, being that the black church was a safe haven for the black community, a place where you can be yourself and not worry about being persecuted, how would that feel to be more integrated? Would it feel like you lose part of that identity?
No, not for me.
Okay.
We might be more progressive.
Well,
Possibly.
aren't we all?
Yeah. But then again, maybe everybody kind of, no, I can't say for everybody. But for me, yeah.
Martin Luther King was shooting for integration anyway.
You're right.
An injustice to one is an injustice for all. He felt like if blacks, were helped, if we can get past racism for blacks, the whole world would benefit. Right. So as far as integration is concerned, that's always been the aim. Yeah. From historic, black leaders. What would church look like? For me, my interpretation of, church being integrated with different musical styles, different preaching styles, it will only benefit, all of us.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Because I don't think we will be losing our foundation, because to me, the foundation is integration. It's not this thing of where the black church get away from us. It's not that. That's not my interpretation. This is our story. This is who we are. We have an identity, but that doesn't mean we're closed off, to different experiences. It can only be enhanced. So,
because I know, without naming names, from personal experience, that the white church, of course, is open doors and would welcome more diversity.
Yeah.
But to a certain extent, right? Like they don't want too much change.
Right.
With worship.
That's for all of us, black church included.
Okay, that's fair.
We say multiculturalism, but come on now, I know, come on.
Right. So but there's like a line, right? Like people want to be diverse and want this multicultural experience, but don't want it to change their worship too much.
Right.
Wow.
Because, so there's that line we got to cross where we are wanting the change, and we are wanting, because otherwise it's not really a multicultural church. It's just, it's two different cultures in one building.
But what if, for me, it would be this thing of acceptance of who God is and his various facets of self-expression. I think, the way white people worship, the way Lutherans worship, the way Asians worship God, the way Africans worship God, those reflect how God is self-expressing himself through those people. So I can't be judgmental to somebody's different form of worship, because now I'm discriminating against God himself. And to me, that's the way I have to look at it, because we can't be so judgmental about somebody else's worship, because to God, I think all of it is acceptable, because God knows how flawed we are. He knows our struggles. He knows our preferences for worship, which is not wrong. I mean, we have to know who we are and just be accepting of different groups and understand that. We don't have to lose ourselves though, but we have to be more embracing because God embraces.
And I think that ultimately comes down to leadership. Who's in leadership at the church? Because if you have people who are in charge or head of whatever ministry, and that's on one accord, then the church is going to reflect that, and everybody can come in, and then it can be different styles in one praise team. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And the pastor can be preaching, and it could be effective to the different cultures. But first things first, you got to have the heads on one accord and feel that, you know?
Right. Absolutely. Or else it's going to fall apart.
It is going to be two cultures in one building.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, trying to be whatever, you know.
And both be frustrated.
Yeah.
Right.
I would totally agree with that. Totally.
Yeah. Cool. I think, and I'm sure there are churches that are doing it. Of course, but I haven't been to one.
I have. I've been to a few.
That's cool. That's really cool.
A few or two?
I've been to 1, 2.
The numbers is low.
I would say 3 churches.
Okay.
All right.
Three.
That's pretty good.
More than 2.
Okay, it's a few.
Yeah.
A few is 3.
He said 3.
A couple is 2.
Yeah.
And then there's the topic of youth group. Like, we've talked about this last week. Youth group is really diverse. At least ours is.
Yeah.
And it's totally cool. But also, we don't have egos with, like, church leadership, you know, trying to butt heads about stuff. But we have a really diverse youth group that unify under basketball.
That's that. Yeah.
And it's, you know, I'm obviously white youth pastor, and most of the youth group is black. And I didn't do that. It just kind of happened. But it's
Corey, you must be black, man. You white, but you black. Because you attractive, you know. Black
it's crazy.
Us, the youth group is black.
I don't know. I'm German blood. I don't know.
You broke it down, huh? I'm German, huh?
But it's just, you know, for youth group, I don't restrict anything. Like, and I don't know of any youth pastor that would, but like, kids want to play basketball, let them play basketball. And if more kids are showing up, then we push basketball a little longer, because that's obviously why they're there. So it's about making that space where people feel like it's their space, and then growing from that. Oh, Jenny's being real helpful now.
Have you seen Corey?
That
brother is white.
Is she telling the truth, Corey? Well,
she's not lying.
But you know, I mean, Corey, you have a very, you know, inviting personality and spirit. Sure. So, I mean, again, I think it just goes back to like leadership. If you come across as a safe place, then people are going to be attracted to that. And then it's word of mouth. You know, you're going to tell your friends what you're doing, and then your friends are going to come, and it's just wildfire. And I mean, it's the same thing. The older you get, I mean, if a person experiences something that they feel like everybody should experience, they're going to be telling everybody. But if they're just doing something out of obligation or, you know, tradition, then they're not really going to tell everybody about it, you know. And that's a conversation within itself. You know, why do people really, you know, why are they really there? Because a lot of people have a lot of opinions, but they won't speak on it. It's a tradition. They're cool with it, and they're not trying to tell anybody else about the church they go to.
Right. Absolutely.
So, I mean, yeah.
Cool. I have a couple more questions, but they're not necessarily church related.
Okay.
That's cool.
And then we can wrap up, because it's been over an hour now.
Well, we had
I mean, we're doing Black Church now. We're going for 2 hours.
There we go.
Y'all being converted.
Right. So we know you guys don't speak for the Black community. You're just speaking from your own experience. But what would you personally like to see change in the Black community, or for the Black community in America? Like, what would you like to see happen for your people?
It's a lot there.
So bunch.
That's a deep question, and if it's too much, you know, I don't want to put you on the spot.
Mm, I would say probably this crab in the bucket mentality where we get angry, resentful, jealous of supposedly more successful Black people, and instead of supporting, and being a unit or a community,
Mm-hmm.
we're so separated as a Black people. And I think it goes back to, slavery, Jim Crow. It's messed us up, and
Yeah.
we're aware of it, but we're not changing. I think a lot of minorities are together somewhat like this,
Mm-hmm.
and African Americans were kind of divided. So for me, I would say we need to become more unified because
Yeah.
we are a minority. We have a messed up past. Why wouldn't we be together?
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I don't know if it's because of Jim Crow laws and racism and slavery that has messed up the Black family structure.
Yeah.
The Black father is usually missing.
Mm-hmm.
That might go back to slavery where, slave masters took the man, and tortured him in front of the Black family and, embarrassed them. So it's a lot of stuff, man, but we
Deep.
need to
Yeah.
be more unified because we're a minority already. We can't afford to be against each other.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's good.
Oh, we gotta set something here.
You wanted to
Our
say
step
something?
forward with our emotions before gaining knowledge to act with, and it's not good. We need to continue to be educated properly. We need leadership, proper leadership. That's fair.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For sure.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say all of what Rayshawn said. I just want to see my community, Black community, just thrive,
Yeah.
and have its own things. Meaning, and when I say own, I don't mean like that we're segregated, but I'm just saying thriving mentally, physically, and spiritually.
Yeah.
That our dollar is circulating in our community. I would like to
Right.
see more programs, and it not have to be like a hood, but it could be a nice area to live. It's just
Sure.
in Cleveland. It's just what it is.
Can't say hood, right?
That's why I said like that. I mean, because a lot of people haven't. I mean, I said that because a lot of people have been feeling some type of way about it being called hood, and that's just what my clients been talking about. People are, But anywho, yeah, just and just being really healthy mentally. Because if our mental is healthy, then it won't have to be a crab in the barrel mentality, and we won't have to do all these little things that we do. But for the most part, just to keep it short and sweet, I want to see us in a great space mentally, physically, and spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
Just to be
Do you think unifying events like George Floyd's death help with that, or do they hurt?
I'm gonna say I think that it's a reality check for the moment. I think that it does give us a sense of what we need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for others who been saying what we need to do, it's just okay, but when we really gonna do.
Right.
And I'm gonna leave it there.
Yeah. So how can, and I guess not Anthony, or half of Anthony and me and Jenny, how can we be better allies in seeking justice for our neighbors that are Black or brown? Like, what can I do to be better?
Man, I'm gonna stick with this. This is my answer every single time. I know everybody gonna get tired of it, but I would say inner work, self-work, which is the real work, looking at your biases, assumptions about the world, your world views, how you was raised, white privilege, all of that.
Yeah.
And just sit with it. Because then, it will allow Blacks, believe it or not, to feel comfortable enough to begin to share from the Black experience. A lot of times Black people don't share because they feel like, it's going to be shut down. We're going to make it uncomfortable. Who wants to hear this already? We're already, being profiled and stuff. Why? We need a safe place to talk about it.
Yes.
To and with. So I think that self-awareness, the inner work, the real work is self-awareness on both sides. So yeah, white privilege is real.
Yep.
And the Black experience is real. I mean, it's two different realities. And if we can sit with that reality and not necessarily judge it, but just sit with this stuff, it's no reason to judge. It is what it is. You didn't ask to be white, Corey, but now you're here. So now you got a responsibility, my brother. But you didn't ask to be here. So to me, the white privilege, you know, it is what it is. I didn't ask to be Black. I didn't ask to be, you know, have these experiences, but it is what it is. So for me, it's about how do we move forward? How can each person have self-awareness? That stuff, self-awareness is hard, and inner growth is so hard for many people. That's why we can be so quick to do external stuff and to do, you know, I'm not picking on protests and stuff like that because it's good, but protests and stuff like that, or just external actions, period. The external stuff is easier, but the internal work, that stuff there is priceless, and it will be the beginning of a discussion, and that's the beginning work, but it's also the ending work. You got to be self-aware.
It's continual. Like I started learning about my privilege a couple years ago, but I haven't stopped. Like, and I'm not saying I've arrived at any point. It's just like with faith, like you just got to keep growing and keep going. And I'm continually learning where I've messed up, like we talked about last week. And I just want to be better, and I want to be a better ally, and I want to use the privilege that I have to help rather than to help myself, to help those who need it.
That was gonna be since he said that was gonna be my point, because he said that part. No, seriously, you know, he already hit the self-awareness button, and y'all know we're really big on self-awareness and where you're at. And I was gonna say, basically, I mean, now that you said it, but yeah, using the white privilege to help. So there's things that you know that my community just doesn't know, and sometimes a lot of things are made harder for us to even get the information on, or how to do it, what to do. And so since you have the youth, I would say, like, just really pouring into them, or whoever, you know, God connects you with. If you guys started whatever program you guys are wherever you are, you know, when you see the opportunity, just share whatever that may be, but just share it, because we don't necessarily always know, you know, just things that others may think is simple, you know?
Yeah, I hear you.
So yeah, like pouring into, and then like you said, just continuously working on yourself, and then and also like just spread knowledge.
Yep.
It's really powerful, for real. So
well, that's why we're doing this, because you know, I may know some, and I've been working on it, but I don't want to be the one to talk about it. I need your experience and your voice to speak up, so I can listen and learn more.
Yeah. And I mean, I will say this too. We're learning too. I mean, you guys are telling us some things, and I'm like, oh, okay, wow. Because again, I mean, you're white, I'm Black, and I don't understand what it is to be a white man or woman in America. So, you know, just like you don't understand what it is to be a Black man or a Black woman. So, I'm listening.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna leave it there.
We talk a lot, though. There's a lot of white people around, so you've probably heard a lot.
I have heard a lot. I will say that, I've been privileged to just be in different rooms and hear different things. But it's a lot of people who don't, and they need to know. So
yeah. All right. Well,
and also just don't be super hard on yourself either. I just want to say that. The end.
Okay.
Well, you guys are too gracious to us. That's true. Like, it's because we know you and we love you, and you guys are kind to us, but we still can, you know, we can still work on it.
For sure.
What can Black people do to better understand you? Me personally, I want to be an ally, like I talked about. Like I want to break the stigma of the white racist, because I had been around so many of those people throughout my life. I grew up in a pretty rural community, wasn't a lot of Black people. I had little to no exposure, and when it was, you know, it wasn't cruel, but it was unkind. And so learning about my privilege helped me to to try and correct some of the wrongs of when I was a kid, basically. And
Wow.
I can't speak for all white people, but a lot of them are real crappy people, and maybe loving and kind people, but unaware of their privilege people.
There you go.
Okay. Because the people that I grew up with, it was suburban and it was white, and we just didn't have exposure. And if it was what you see on TV, or it was like on Cops. So it was the white cop against a black, defendant or whatever. So our exposure was usually negative, even like subconsciously negative.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, white people just need to be around more black people. Like, that's what it is. So it breaks those stigmas. It breaks those preferences, or whatever you want to call it. Like, it just, it helps them. Like, white people, there's a lot of really good white people, but there's also a lot that don't know that they're causing damage.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
And man, don't take this for granted, man. Like, what you and Jenny are doing are huge, rare, and it's much needed in the race relations discussion and dialogue. Yeah. This is what's needed. What we're doing, how we're both being honest, and looking at self, and looking at how we were raised and our experiences, and this being a safe place.
Yeah.
Don't take this for granted. It's awesome, man. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, we appreciate you all and love you all for doing this.
No, we love you too. I mean, I've said it before, but like, I'm just grateful that you guys are willing to do this with us, and I need to know more black people so I can talk with them too.
The journey is together.
Yeah, man.
I don't even know more.
I know a lot of white people, okay?
Yeah, you work with white people.
I work with them. Jesus. At a white hospital.
Shut
up. I love my white counterparts.
I can't.
Well, you work at an all-black
I
shop,
do.
So she needs some more white.
I got lots of white friends.
KB, what if I showed up and get my hair cut? Would you get some looks?
No, we're actually right in Lyndhurst. So we have white people that, before COVID-19, walk-ins, and we know how to cut their hair and everything like that. And so they get their hair cut. I mean, we've had some come get a manicure, get their lashes done.
Okay.
Yeah, all of that.
Because I need a haircut bad. That's why I always wear hats, because I haven't got a haircut since like February.
Wow, man.
I know. It's not good.
You can get away with it, man. I mean, your hair is, it's different from black hair, so you good.
I just wear a hat. It's
whenever
fine.
you want. Just text me and I got you.
All right, cool.
All righty.
You better come, Corey.
I'm gonna have to now. I said it on live. I have to now.
I have to.
Everybody takes you the address right now.
All right. Well,
good time tonight.
Yeah.
Rayshawn's hungry.
I'm
Don't
hungry,
know what he's
y'all.
about to eat.
Yeah. Well, thanks again for talking with us. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
We love y'all, man. Anthony, it's good to see you, bro.
For sure.
Looking good, man.
All that facial hair, I'm just
looking
saying.
like you're 25.
I know, right? Do you want the last word? He's got the last word.
I would say like the major thing is try to understand people. Like no matter who you talk to, whether it's like someone your own race or someone of a different race or different age, different culture, just be more understanding and like open your eyes to like different concepts and perceptions of thought. I think that's something I was trying to work on with myself. I'm trying to like appeal to more people, and it helps because if you're having an argument with somebody, like instead of thinking like, oh, like I'm right, try to open your mind to see where their point of view is.
That's good.
It's great. It's beautiful.
That's a great.
Man.
That's a drop the mic on.
Drop the mic. You said more than we all said tonight. That's it. All right, dog.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, y'all. Love y'all. Good night.
Good night. Love
Good
y'all.
night. Where'd you go? That's great, man.
Hang up.
Oh, my
I
bad.
don't know how to hang up.